I grew up in a Christian home. My mother and father both went to church. My father was a teacher, preacher, deacon, elder. His last job, he retired as a preacher, and shortly after that, that's when he passed away.
I grew up also in a Christian home. I was born and raised in Illinois. My father was a teacher, an elder, and a song leader. And my mother has been a school teacher as well as a Bible school teacher for many years.
We met she was attending the local college, Christian college, and the church there that was probably about maybe a mile away from the college campus. We met through a mutual friend. I was talking to one of my friends there at the church, and Amber just waltzed right up and introduced herself to me.
Well, obviously I thought he was a pretty good-looking guy, so I walked up and introduced myself, and I figured my friend wasn't going to introduce me, so I was just going to take out the middleman and get the job done myself.
And I was, I guess, smitten the day that I saw her and shook her hand. I was like, wow, this girl's like really wanting to meet me. Okay, all right.
So we were dating. Roger came to visit me in Illinois in October of 1990, and he asked my father for my hand in marriage. We obviously got engaged and planned our wedding for February 2nd of 1991. We bought our first house, and things were good for a while. We had our dog, and we had, our own place, and things were good for a while. It wasn't until later, probably 2007, when things changed.
Well, in 2007, things were starting to change between me, Amber, and I. I had lost my job. Amber decided that she was trying to help us out by going to school and get a degree and better herself and help the family out. And during that time when she started school, I was going through, I would say, more of a depression because it was hard for me to find another job at the time. So I was pretty much home all day, and then she was at work all day at her normal job. And then she would come home in the evenings, and pretty much it was hi, bye, great to see you. Now I got to go to school. She was spending a lot more time with her mom and not wanting to spend any time with me or, I guess, lift me up or encourage me.
When things changed, as Roger mentioned, I was going back to school. I was working full-time, going to school full-time. I was in an accelerated program. And I was trying to do better financial, so that we could get in a better financial picture and to help the family. And I felt like he wasn't doing enough. I wasn't seeing results. I wasn't seeing any effort being, or what to me didn't seem like effort, being put forth to look for a job, even though he said he was looking online and he was, doing the various things. I wasn't seeing the result of that. And I would get frustrated. And I spent a lot of time with my mom.
I guess with her spending more time with her mom, it was starting to get to the point where it's like we were two individuals just living in a house.
again, I wasn't seeing results. And I felt like here I'm doing everything in my power, and I had also picked up a small part-time job, even working at the school, to get a little extra money. So I felt like I was doing all these different things, going to work full-time and going to school full-time and working a part-time job, and nothing was happening for him. And I'm like, I was ready to I'm ready to move on. If you're not going to be with me, then you're against me, and I'm going to move on with my life.
For me, I guess the final straw was just her spending so much time with her family and not me. And we were starting to fight over stupid little things. And it was just too emotionally straining on both of us. And I think we just ended up fighting about some stupid thing. I think it was either I didn't take the dishes out of the dishwasher or didn't wash the dishes or something like that. And I said, that's it. I'm calling my mom or who I can get a hold of, and I'm getting out of here. I have to get out of Illinois. In 2008, we made that decision to get a divorce, and I started packing my things, and we weren't throwing things or anything like at each other. We weren't yelling and screaming, but it was just a mutual decision that we just said, we're done. There's no love. It was just...
Yeah, we were roommates at that point.
Yeah, we were just roommates.
The lifestyle after Roger left was different for me. I had been, I went from my parents' house to Roger's house when we got married, so I had never been on my own. I had never been independent, and it was a new sense of freedom for me. A new sense of, hey, I don't have to ask anybody anything. I can do what I want. I moved into an apartment. I was still working my job. I was still going to school. I was hanging out with my friends. So life just moved on for me. I didn't really dwell on things. I mean, I was hurt, and I would hear things in the grapevine, and that would hurt me. But for the most part, I just moved on and went on to live my life.
For me, I guess I went through my own personal hell. I had moved back with my mother in Michigan, and where we were at in Michigan, you were definitely in the woods. I stayed with her for a while, and I just went through this depression, but at the same time, I felt somewhat of relief, but yet still the depression kept coming back. And the emotional coaster ride that I was on, I got to a point where I was at my mom's, and I said, I have to get out of here, Mom. I packed up my things. I moved to Colorado. A buddy of mine that I went to high school with was living there. And I was like, yes, great, I'll stay with him. He said, come on out, it's great out here. I can start my new life. I got out there, and I was surrounded by all these beautiful scenery and mountains, and all I could think about was, I wish Amber could see this. And the whole time that I was there, there was a lady that was doing accounting for my buddy that lived there, and he was a master plumber and had his own business. And the whole time that she would talk to me, she would kind of ask me, why was it that we separated or got divorced? And it was almost like God was putting her in front of me to say, hey, you guys are still not done, and I'm not done with you.
I started attending a church called Heartland in Illinois, And Heartland offered a class that they called Marriage Matters and Rebuilders. And that really touched my heart. And the Rebuilders part of that is a divorce recovery class. And so I decided to sign up, and I started attending that class, and it was a tough class. I mean, it really shows you, one, it showed me that marriage is a two-way street. You know, marriage isn't it was all his fault or it was my fault. So we came to a point in the class where we were talking about communication and things that we never communicated with our spouse, and that really hit me hard. One of the things that I had never communicated to Roger was that I was proud of him, proud of the man that he was, proud of the man that he was becoming.
While I'm in Colorado, obviously there's a lot of rock climbing and things like that, and so my buddy had got me interested in doing some rock climbing. So here we are, rock climbing, and I'm up, I don't know, 50 feet, 100 feet off on the side of this cliff, hanging there, and all of a sudden my phone rings, and I'm thinking, okay, who could be calling me while I'm rock climbing? So I answered. I looked and seen it was Amber's phone number, and I thought, okay, it's got to be something she's calling me for. So I answered the phone.
When he answered the phone, and I told him, you know, again, I don't want anything from you. I don't need anything. I just want you to know what's on my heart. And I said, I've never told you in the whole 17 years that we were married that I was proud of you, and I just wanted you to know that.
I had to pause and kind of take it in, and I told her that I would have to call her a little bit later. I was a little busy right there at the moment, and so I told her that I would definitely call her when I got done doing the rock climbing.
He called me back, and God used that to open the door to reconciliation. We started talking more often, and a few weeks had passed, and we were kind of starting to get involved with each other's lives again. And I can remember one night I was driving home, and I was headed to a hockey game with some friends of mine. But I was headed home to get ready to go out, and he called, and he said, I want to come home. And I almost wrecked my car, but I said, well, what does that mean exactly? And he said, I want to come home to you.
After the phone call, once again, the lady that I'd been talking with, she was like, that sounds great. It sounds like something is going to happen between you two. So I told her, I said, I have to go. I have to leave. I have to go back to her. And so at that point, I literally got up and started packing my bags and packing everything that I had brought with me to Colorado in my car. And William got home that evening late and was like, what's going on? Where are you going? I said, I'm going home.
And the first thing he did when he walked in the door was to give me a huge hug and kiss, and I was a little floorboarded, a little taken aback, but yeah, God moves in mysterious ways sometimes. God used the bad and turned everything to good. He turned us around. He brought us to an awesome church family. He continued, you know, he gave us an awesome church family when we were, you know, reconciled. We have an awesome church family now, so we have a great support system and a network. That's all God. It's absolutely all God.